Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Video Games, back with another really cool arcade game that we're going to shoot a video of for you here. You can see all of our arcade games all the time, no matter when you're seeing this video, at lionsarcade.com. We fix games and sell them. And whenever we get one in that is kind of interesting, we shoot a video of it so that you can watch it for free here on YouTube and feel like you're a part of the experience. So this is Bally's Kings of Steel pinball machine. Kind of cool game, has really sweet art. So I thought I would film a little video of it and show it to you, and maybe we'll play it a little bit. This came out in the early 80s. I believe it's 84. Let's see here. See if I can find a copyright on it. 1984. Bally Midway Manufacturing Company, Corporation, Company, whatever. It's strange to me how much people are concerned about that we get the date right on YouTube. If I get the date wrong, people will let me know in a hurry. So I always have to check on the actual machine. It says 84, so I believe that's right. So this, if you know much about pinball, this was a time period when they were kind of, all of the pinball companies and the video game companies, arcade game companies, were kind of in the valley a little bit, if you know what I mean. There was a big boom in the early 80s, late 70s of arcade games and pinball machines. And then they kind of went through a couple years there where people weren't playing them as much, and just the industry was kind of hurting. So several of the companies had to do a few things to kind of cost cut. So they did games like this where the cabinets were made a little different. This cabinet, the original cabinets were made out of plywood. These newer cabinets like this were a little cheaper. They were made out of like MDF particle board, basically. Sawdust, basically. And they put decals on them instead of painting them and stenciling them the old way. And so if you look close, we always clean these up as good as we can. We're big believers that you know, just about every game deserves to be saved. If we can get the thing working again, we're going to do it no matter what shape it's in. It has to be really bad for us to part a game out. But if you look close, you can see along the edges, so it's kind of rough. Now when you stand back, you don't see any of that. And when you're standing here playing it, you certainly don't see any of that. And this is, you know, this isn't one of the greatest pinball games of all time, but it's a Bally pinball game. You know what I mean? I mean, it is a pinball game, and it's over 30 years old, so it certainly deserves to be saved, even though some parts of the cabinet are kind of rough. These decals, they weren't really the greatest to begin with, and then they're on particle board, which swells on the edges if it gets wet. And this one here's got some damage. And then on top of that, this is not a super desirable machine, so nobody's went through the trouble of making reproduction art. Now I'm sitting here bad mouthing the thing, but look at that back glass. I mean, look at that. It's mirrored. It's got an awesome card theme. And here's the gentleman that painted it. Mr. Is it Watson, I guess? Looks like Watson. I'm not familiar with that gentleman, but he did a really good job on this back glass. And then the playfield's pretty cool too. And so it's kind of a medieval royal king kind of thing based around playing cards. And it's got a couple of neat little things to it. It took me a while to figure this out, but these are arms, gauntlets basically, and there's the guy's hands, and he's throwing these cards out. It took me a while. I thought that my some of my bulbs were burnt out, but what's actually going on is when a couple of the drop targets are down, the light stays off. I don't know, it's very strange, but anyway, it's just how the attract mode works. Got a little saucer up at the top, got a third flipper up there. Kings of Steel. This had their second power supply, the one that's it's kind of like a flat board, and it's down in the bottom of the cabinet, kind of like was on like Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man, a couple of those games. They had, by the time this came out, they had upgraded to the 7-digit displays. The earlier games had 6-digit displays, which meant you couldn't get as high of a score. But on the 6-digit displays, you could roll the score a little easier. I guess you could roll the 7 digits too if you were good enough. But let's read over the instructions and we'll see kind of how it goes together. Pinball games are always much more fun if you take just a little bit of time to read the instructions. Instructions. Lighting top mini straight cards 4, 5, 6, and 7 advances the saucer value. So what they're talking about is when you plunge the ball, it comes up here to the top. And also you can make this loop shot here up to the top. And also sometimes the ball will pop around in here and go back up to the top. So that top light says mini straight special when flashing. So it's talking about that red light there. But the cards are 4, 5, 6, and 7, and there's those little rollovers there. So if you get all 4 of those, whenever you get in it increases the value of the saucer. So it starts out 40,000, and then it's worth 80,000, and then it's the third time it's lit for special. Special usually is either a free ball or a free game. All right. Threes target qualifies the center target. So the threes target is over here. It's just a nice shot up there, and that's the threes target. So this is the center target. So I think what happens is if you make that, these start spinning around. And then whenever you hit the target, it gives you whatever light is lit. Saucer spots card in card bonus. So whenever you make that shot, whatever your card you're up to on this bonus ladder here, and that's kind of a neat way that works. Whenever it first starts, it tries to get you to get the 10, which is the first drop target that it lights up. And if you hit the 10, you get that. If you also get in the saucer, it gives you that and drops the drop target. These have the memory targets that can reset all of them and then drop the ones that it wants. And then after you drop the 10, it goes up to the next row and it pops up the 2 jack targets. And then if you get both jacks, which again you can either hit the drop target or if you hit the saucer it'll drop one of them for you. After you get both jacks, it pops up the 3 queen targets. And then after you get the 3 queen targets, it pops up the 3 queens and the 2 jacks. And then if you get all of those, you go up to the top one, which is all the kings, and there's one ace in the middle, which is that red target there. But you can see the lights for them there beside the other ones. So I'll play a little bit of that and show you kind of how it does it. And then it says out hole scores 5,000 points for each lit card in the card bonus. So basically, you want to go through those drop targets as much as possible and get as far up the ladder as you can. Special. 1 replay for lighting mini straight cards 4, 5, 6, and 7 when lit for special. You get 1 replay for the ball and the saucer when it's lit for the special. 1 replay for lighting all the 2's targets, deuces, lights when lit for special. The 2's targets, the deuces, are these 3 right here. And there's your little mini flipper. And you can see there it also says advanced card bonus multiplier 50,000 and special. 1 replay for lighting all 2's target lights when it's lit for special. 1 replay for hitting the 3's target when it's lit for special. So again, that's that one. If that special light is on up there and you hit it, you get a replay. One replay for lighting 4 kings and ace in the card bonus when lit for special. So if you get up to this top row, which is the 4 kings and an ace, basically all the drop targets will be down, and it will be telling you to hit the targets behind them so that you can get those 5 amber lights on the right. That it's going to show, yeah, there you go. All right, and if you want an extra ball, you get 1 extra ball for hitting the 3's target when lit for an extra ball, which, again, there's extra ball. Maximum 1 extra ball per ball in play. Tilt penalty is the ball in play. And then it's got a kind of interesting little left out lane here. Normally on most games, the left is the out lane. So if the ball goes out here, it drains behind the flipper. But on this game, if the ball goes on the inside, it drains past the flipper. If the ball goes on the left side, it hits this nice little ramp, goes over the hole and down to the flipper. That's pretty cool. And on this side you have a little gate here that can open up like on a lot of the old EMs, so that gate can swing open and that light will come on, and that'll save your ball if that gate's open whenever you drain down the right side. So I will set up the tripod, we'll play through it a little bit and you can see what you think. This thing has cool sound effects in it. It had Bally's Cheap Squeak, that's what they actually called it, Cheap Squeak soundboard, which I believe was inexpensive to make, hence the name, and made some cool 80s era sound effects. So I will get the tripod and we'll film through it a little bit. All right, folks, I have turned up the sound pretty loud, so it's going to, you're going to hear all of the cheap squeak goodness that only 1984 can bring you. If you haven't played a 1984 Bally pinball, this is what they sounded like. That's supposed to kind of build up the, you know, the suspense. So basically, it's aiming me for the saucer, and I've got 1 drop target up. It put them all up, and then it systematically dropped on its own the other 5. They call those memory drop targets. They're using them right now. They're still using that concept right now in the new Hobbit pinball machine that's about to come out as of, this is 2015. It's the same technology, but it's just such a cool feature that they're still using it. So anyway, here we go. Let's see if I can hit that drop target. Nope. I always forget that flipper's up there. Whoop, missed it again. I'm kind of better at backhanding it into the drops than hitting them straight. So you can see 1 jack light is lit because I knocked 1 down, and then 1 isn't lit because it's still up over there. Oh, whoa. That's a dud. I forgot to give my disclaimer. I'm not the world's greatest pinball guy. So it spotted me another one. So now I'm trying to get the 3 queens. All right, so now I'm trying to get the next thing there, which is 3 queens and 2 jacks. All right, so now I'm trying to get all the kings. And they start up the cool synthesizer music. So basically behind all the drop targets there are little stand-up targets, and I have already hit 2 of them, which were 2 of the kings. There's 2 other kings and an ace. See the lights in the middle? Oh, man. Maybe I should just flail a little bit. Oh, down the suicide drain. I think the sound effects are awesome on it. So basically, if you hit that shot, it makes this start spinning. And then you get different things depending on where it's at whenever you hit that center target. Very cool. Let's do it again. Whoop. Apparently that switch isn't adjusted very well up there at the top. Well, if I can hit the middle switch and claim my prize. Oh, come on. Oh. Oh, come on. All right. Oh, that's cool. It gives you the bonus, but it also holds the bonus over. No. Right down the middle. All right, there you have it. That is Bally's Kings of Steel. I didn't get far, but really, folks, I probably wasn't going to get much farther anyway. I could be here all night and never get too much farther. I'm glad I got to where you were trying to get that last row, though, whenever the music starts. That's always pretty cool. But it's a neat little game, and again, it's not one of the most popular games ever, but it is a card theme, and people love games that have a card theme for whatever reason. They've always done well. We always sell them pretty quick whenever we get them done. Now, by the time you see this video, who knows when you will see this video? You might see it here in a couple days, or you might see it 10 years from now. This game may not even be here anymore because we do sell them. So it may have moved on to its happy home, permanent home. But if you're looking to get a game, you can see all the ones that we have right now, this minute, while you're watching this video, by going to our website at lionsarcade.com. And you can see all of the games that we have for sale there. If you're not interested in a game, you can just subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'll be getting many more games in, and we'll shoot videos every time we get a cool one in. So we will see you folks next video.